Yo, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy Underrated Mages. They'll be doing a video discussing a new Fairy Tail series. Now, if you guys have been living underneath the rock, you guys probably haven't heard the news, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of anime only. So if you only watch the anime, you probably haven't heard the news of this either. But the Fairy Tail series has come to an end. Yes, Fairy Tail is over. The manga is finito. It's complete. It's done. It's over. It's finished with. Yes, Fairy Tail chapter 545 was the final chapter of Fairy Tail. Or was it? Now, if you guys haven't read the last chapter of Fairy Tail, I'm obviously not going to spoil it for you guys because, I don't want to ruin the experience. But if you guys read the final chapter of Fairy Tail, a lot of people, including myself, believe that it didn't really feel like an ending. Now, don't get me wrong, there were a lot of things that were wrapping up. We got to see things like a couple characters get together. We got to see like a couple pivotal moments in the series. But overall, the final chapter of Fairy Tail wasn't really a final chapter in my opinion. It didn't really feel like the series was ending. It didn't feel like to me that Hiro Mashima, the author of Fairy Tail, the person who actually writes it, it feels like that he left it off with such a wide opening. Like he left it off like a cliffhanger. Like I'm still expecting another Fairy Tail chapter. That's how, I don't want to say bad, but that's how open I think the ending was left off. Like it felt like that there could still be another Fairy Tail chapter. And today, this video, I'm going to be doing a video, or I'm going to be discussing the ending, or what could happen, what could take place if there actually is a spin-off or continuation of a new Fairy Tail series. Now, for starters, the first two things I'm going to say, the first two options, these would only occur if Fairy Tail, if Hiro Mashima, the author, if he does make another Fairy Tail series, if it's a short series. Now, I have a couple options on if he does a short series, what it could be about. But if he chooses to do another long-running series, on what he could write about. Now, me personally, when I say a short series, I say something maybe around 10 to 25 chapters, because we know that in the past, whenever Hiro Mashima does spin-offs, like for example Fairy Tail Zero, it's 10 chapters. And we also see when he does like spin-offs for other characters like Gildarts, Gray, Gagio, those are only like 10 chapters too. So I could see a continuation of the Fairy Tail series being 10 chapters, but the only reason why I say 10 to 25 is because this is the main series, and if he does a spin-off with the main, like a continuation of the main series, I can see him putting a little bit more effort into it and actually continuing it and making it go a little bit further. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start it. Now, the first spin-off or continuation I could see happening is them completing the 100-year quest, and this is one of the main reasons why I think Fairy Tail isn't done. I just can't believe that there will be no more new Fairy Tail content, simply because it ends off with them saying, let's go do a 100-year quest. Like, you're ending the series off with them saying, let's go start a new quest. So this is obviously a ploy, to me personally, to basically leave the door open just in case Hiro Mashima wants to come back and write any more Fairy Tail. Now, what the 100-year quest is, I think it would be, I don't even know what it would be, to be honest. I mean, the main thing that I can think of is if them actually going out and searching for real fairies, like actual fairies, and seeing if they actually do have tails, because the main little theme of the Fairy Tail Guild was, does fairies have tails? And basically they're like, we'll never know unless we go out and find out. And Fairy Tail, the guild, I'm talking about the guild, not the series, Fairy Tail, the guild, they basically love adventure. So the whole theme of do fairies have tails and them searching for fairies, I think that would be a good way to incorporate in the 100-year quest. I think that would be a dope 100-year quest if they actually went on it. So if there is actually a spin-off or a continuation regarding around the 100-year quest, I definitely do think that they could do this in about, I actually think that would be longer than 10 chapters, because something this big, like if the 100-year quest does actually involve fairies, I think that it would have to be longer than 10 chapters, maybe about 25, I don't know. But I definitely do think that they could do a spin-off regardless of what the 100-year quest is, whether it be about fairies or whether it be about catching some rare jewel. I definitely do think that we have to figure out what this 100-year quest that they're going on and what actually the quest is. Now, the next thing I want to discuss is them deciding a new guild master. Now, sadly, we know that Makarov is still alive, and I know that I'm not the only person who wanted Makarov to die. And it's not like I hate Makarov, it's not like I hate his character, it's not like I hate seeing him whenever he pops up on the screen. I'm like, oh my god, what is he doing? But no, Makarov, he definitely should have been killed off, because it would have made it a whole lot better. We saw what happened when he was killed off, and I'm using air quotes if you guys can't see it, but we saw what happened when he was quote unquote killed off. We saw how sad everybody was, what type of impact it had on the guild. Laxus, oh my god, that was one of the greatest moments, Laxus figuring out about Makarov. But we even before this Tartarus arc, him versus Acton Logia, I definitely do think that would have been a good way if Makarov would have died there, because that would have segued into the time skip, and then they came back to the whole Grand Magic games and all that. So yeah, I definitely do think that Makarov, he should have been killed off a while ago, but I do think that his death, it would have been great for the series, because not only would it have basically gave the characters a bit more development, and it would have showed how much they loved him, it would have also segued into finding out a new guild master, because currently Makarov is still the guild master, and I think that if he was gone or if he did retire, we could have figured out who the new guild master was going to be. And I think that we could have had maybe a little tournament of all the people who want to be a Fairy Tail guild master going at it. You know, I think that would be dope if we got to see like an all-out battle between like maybe Natsu going against Gray, then Natsu going against Urza, and you know, just people who are qualified to be quote-unquote guild master, them all fighting for the spot of guild master. Now, I don't think it would be something like the whole Laxus arc when Laxus basically made them go crazy, but I do think it would be cool if we did get to see a battle between Fairy Tail's top tiers going at it for who can become the guild master. Now, these next two choices that I'm going to bring up for the Fairy Tail spinoff is actually going to be, these would be in a scenario where it's not just 10 to 25 chapters. These would be in a scenario when it's maybe 50 to 100 chapters. I'm talking about a whole extra new series, you know, a long running, well, not even long, a medium run series. And these are a couple spin-offs that I've been thinking about that could happen if he ever does decide to come back and want to write a longer series, something that has a little bit more depth, 50 to 100 chapters. So the first one would be an older time skip. Now, this would basically be a time skip for all the current characters of Fairy Tail, them basically getting older. Now, I'm not saying they would be in straight up adult mode, you know, Natsu in a rocking chair. No, I'm not saying that, but I'm basically saying them being a bit older. We know that they're currently around the age of 17, 18. Maybe if we got a time skip when they're like 25, 20, somewhere around there, I think that'll be cool, because we'll be able to see them mature a bit, and maybe we'll be able to see Fairy Tail get a little bit darker. Yes, I know there's been a lot of people complaining, oh, Fairy Tail doesn't have depths, Fairy Tail's too friendly and all this other things. But if they had a time skip when they got older and they matured a bit, now I'm not saying that Natsu, he will walk around and be like, yo, I'm never going to make a single joke again or anything like that. But if they matured a bit and basically got a bit older, what if we get to see a darker version of Fairy Tail? Now, the only problem that I would see with this is finding a new villain, because I think that Hiro Mashima, he definitely did peak when it comes to villains when it came with Acton Logia and Zeref, and we all know how that turned out. So I'm not even going to get into how the ending of Acton Logia and Zeref went down, but the fact of the matter is, the only problem I see with this is trying to find a new threat, something that will be able to stack up against something like an Acton Logia or something like a Zeref. I think it'll be cool if we did get to see an older time scale with the characters a bit more matured though. Now, this one is kind of playing off of the older time scale, but this would be a whole new generation. Yes, a whole new generation of Fairy Tail guild members. And this will have to be a time skip whereas they're like old. I'm talking like maybe 30s, pushing 40s, and they actually have families and stuff and kids, because I know there's a lot of people, including myself, who want to see like kids between certain characters and all this other stuff. So yeah, I definitely do think that a whole new generation, a whole new I guess you say a wave of Fairy Tail guild members, and with them not only, and it doesn't just have to be kids, it could be a whole new like people who just joined Fairy Tail guild, of them coming in, you know, being able to see kids between like people like Gray and Juvie, or Gajio and Levy, or even Natsu and Lucy, if that ever does happen. So yeah, I definitely do think that a whole new generation of the Fairy Tail guild, that'll be dope. Maybe people like Romeo, Wendy, they could be leaders in it. I think that'll be amazing. So yeah, a Fairy Tail next generation or new generation, that would be amazing. And overall, the last thing that I gotta discuss when it comes to new Fairy Tail content is the new Fairy Tail anime. Now, I definitely do think that with the anime returning, we could get some new Fairy Tail content with the quote-unquote canon filler. Now, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, Hiro Mashima, when the Tartarus arc was going on, when he was writing the Tartarus arc, there was something that he couldn't put into the manga that he wanted to put in there. So what he did, he had the anime studio, while they're animating the Fairy Tail anime, he had them incorporate some of the things that he couldn't put in the manga into the anime. And a lot of people, they saw that as canon, some people saw that as filler, some people, and this is where I fall in, some people saw it as canon filler, where basically it wasn't in the manga, but since the author of Fairy Tail was like hands-on with it and he actually told them to put it in there, I see it as canon filler. Whereas it didn't happen in the manga, but yet the author of Fairy Tail, he actually did want it to happen, so he put it in there. And maybe we could see that with the new Fairy Tail anime. Maybe we could see some extra content after the whole quote-unquote ending. Me personally, I think that'll all depend on how the new Fairy Tail anime does. If it does good in ratings, maybe they'll say, you know what, let's keep this money going, let's go, and they'll basically put something in there. Or maybe they'll just add more scenes from the whole Alvarez Empire arc that he couldn't add in there. So yeah, overall, that's basically it for this little video. Do you guys want Fairy Tail to have a continuation, or do you guys think no, Fairy Tail is done and you guys don't want it to be disturbed? Comment what you guys think down below. Subscribe if you haven't. Peace out.